A very important energetic shift will happen on June the 1st. Uranus, the planet that represents unexpected and sudden events, is changing its zodiac sign. This transit will change the world forever. This shift occurs almost exactly as it did in the year 1940. Shortly after the beginning of the Second World War. This historical parallel indicates profound changes that will transform our understanding of security, the physical and the financial world. What awaits us in June, and how will this powerful energy influence your life? More on that will be revealed in this energy update. But first of all, a warm welcome to you here on my YouTube channel. My name is Sylvia Suryodaya Group and I'm a professional astrologer. Do you want to know what energetic shifts are coming your way next week? Subscribe to my free newsletter for a weekly energy update that shows you what is really important for you. You can find the link here below the video. And if you are interested in Vedic astrology, because I'm speaking about Vedic astrology and you want to read your own birth horoscope, then don't miss my free webinar. You can find the link directly below this video. Dive into the fascinating world of the stars and gain valuable insights for yourself. But now let's see what is really important in June. Because the shift of Uranus will change the world forever. On June the 1st it will happen, and Uranus will be at 0 degrees in the sign of Taurus, bringing its high-frequency energy to all the planets that are already there. What exactly this explosive energy of Uranus means, more on that in a moment, and we will also look to some country horoscopes to see how the global situation could change with these energies. There are some really exciting insights. But before we begin with the June update, a brief summary of what I predicted and what has come to pass. I already made a separate video about the death of Ebrahim Raisi, which I will link here. In my video about May the 18th, I mentioned that there could be violence against the leader in Iran. And this has manifested with the tragic helicopter crash on May the 19th. And I also predicted that there would be increased unrest against the leadership in Israel, and we are seeing the escalation demonstrations against President Netanyahu, and also more opposition from the USA and also the United Nations. I also mentioned that the situation in Taiwan would further escalate, and this has also manifested. China is increasingly demonstrating its claim of power over Taiwan with a maneuver directly on site. These are just a few of the predictions I made. But now let's begin with the June update, because there is a lot going on. We have Mercury, Jupiter, Venus and the Sun in the sign of Taurus, and this constellation places a strong focus on topics such as security and practicality, material things, money, possessions, family life, enjoyment and also sensuality, as well as planet Earth itself. The Taurus energy is about grounding and finding stability in this physical world. It is a time to assess our resources, enjoy the pleasures of life, and create solid foundations for the future. Planet Mars will transit into the sign of Aries also on June the 1st in his own sign. And this transit means that we will feel fitter, we might experience more energy, more drive, more power, and be braver. Aries energy is pioneering and dynamic, pushing us to take action and start new ventures. But Mars in the sign of Aries also brings impulsiveness, impatience, and potentially increased aggressive energies, and willingness to engage in conflicts. Nevertheless, I see it milder than the Rahu-Mars conjunction we experienced last month. The energies are focused towards new beginnings and personal growth, a very powerful time that can bring positive changes into your life. You may feel a strong desire to achieve your goals and take bold steps towards them. On June the 6th, we have a new moon. The new moon takes place in the sign of Taurus at 22 degrees, in the lunar mansion Rohini. Rohini stands for creative power, for beauty, for finding joy in life and sexuality. So it is a highly erotic new moon. This is a wonderful time for creative work, finding a new romance and beautifying your surroundings. It is a good time to get married with Mercury and Venus around the planet, Sun and Moon, and they are making really the energies of a high vibration. It is time to enjoy the pleasures of life. I know that many people devalue material values and say we should not depend on them, and that is good. But we should also enjoy life and bring beautiful things into our lives, because abundance is our birthright, and external abundance is a mirror of our internal resources. And there is nothing wrong with that. The topic of self-worth is also strongly in focus with these energies. And the question is, do you believe in yourself? Or do you constantly devalue yourself or put your needs aside? The new moon reminds us to find this balance between self-worth and the appreciation of others. Now to Uranus and its special energy. Uranus is called the Great Awakener that helps us to see through the illusions. And Uranus is the planet of revolution, of change and innovation. Uranus stands for individuality and wants to do things differently than all the other planets. It literally has a unique rotation, and I spoke more about this in my last live stream. You can check this out. Uranus stands for sudden and unexpected changes, and in the sign of Taurus, it will bring many advancements in the coming years. New technologies, unconventional ideas. It will also bring, I think so, a digital currency. Also the cryptocurrencies will become more important because Uranus brings this sense of being different, wanting to do things different. And the sign of Taurus is strongly connected to the topic of money and also to planet Earth itself. Innovations to combat pollution and maybe robots taking over jobs. It is important not to fall into fear, but to see the opportunities. Uranus will be in the sign of Taurus for 7 years, and I'm sure it will be a great revolution, especially because we are at such a crucial point in the history of humanity. And be sure to check your own horoscope to see which house the sign of Taurus is in, to understand more about where unexpected and sudden changes are possible, and where a completely new direction can be taken. In the year 1940, we had a very similar constellation as we do this year. Does that mean that the risk of a world war is particularly high? The danger should not be completely ignored. But one thing is different from 1940, and that is that the collective energy on Earth. Also, we often believe that with all the chaos we see outside, everything is only getting worse. But this is not really the case. The energy now on Earth is much higher. And there are so many positive initiatives and changes, but the media portrays everything very negative. And yes, certainly also the weather is currently bringing extreme challenges with it. And in June, with Uranus in the sign of Taurus, the transformation will reach a peak, which could also manifest in a form of a major earthquake or extreme water masses. But the earth will calm down again, and new things will grow and emerge. However, with Uranus and its unexpected energy, we should be prepared for things to become even more chaotic, especially due to the retrograde Saturn, because this is the next important thing. In June, Saturn will go retrograde. Although it will only turn retrograde on June the 29th, it will start to slow down 2 to 4 weeks beforehand, and it's only this retrogression, it's only experienced from Earth. In reality, Saturn does not actually slow down, but the effect impacts us. Saturn is now in the sign of Aquarius, in the lunar mansion Purva Bhadrapada. This is a lunar mansion ruled by Jupiter. Saturn stands for our karma. It is a time when we can be confronted with our own karma. And karma means where there are still imbalances in our lives that need to be corrected, balanced out and cleared. And Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, and this stands for taking responsibility, seeking new solutions, and it will be very interesting on the political level, where this energy can heat things up and show us what can still be a viable path for the future and what cannot. It can bring changes in the party system. The lunar mansion, Purva Bhadrapada, has a dual nature, and the symbol is a man with 2 faces, and challenges us to deal with our own shadow aspects, which can recognize most through our inner conflicts. And when we feel pressure and tension in the body, this shows us we are not really connected to our true essence, and we think we should be somebody else that we are not. And so it's really important to know which house it affects in your horoscope, the sign of Aquarius, and which topic these karmic lessons pertain to in your life. One last thing before we look at countries' horoscopes. We have a full moon on June the 22nd, which will be very intense because it takes place on the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius in the lunar mansions Ardra and Mula. And this is the axis that is often associated with destruction. Ardra symbol is a deer, and I'm speaking of Vedic astrology. Ardra and Mula, they bring often very challenging energies. And the moon at this full moon is at 6.55 degrees in the sign of Sagittarius. And this can mean that at the time of the full moon, the chance for peace and harmony is not really high. And maybe there can be some kind of accidents and unexpected events, especially because Saturn is about to turn retrograde. I clearly see an intensification when it comes to the topic of military conflicts, the demonstration of power and reckless actions. But now let's look at the horoscopes of some countries. First, we will look on the chart of Taiwan. Mars is located in this chart at 1.42 degrees in the sign of Taurus. And on June the 29th, when Saturn goes retrograde, Mars will be in transit exactly over the retrograde Saturn in the birth horoscope at about 20 degrees in Aries, and at the same time the birth horoscope Mars of Taiwan is conjunct Uranus. And this stands for a strong form of transformation, great challenges and unexpected changes. It could also mean an attack on the country's leader, but definitely aggression and violence from opponents who want to demonstrate their power. Hopefully, there will be no attack from China. For the USA, Uranus moves into the 6th house and Mars into the 5th house. This is a year of great transformation for the USA, activating the 6th house and the 12th house. The 6th house stands for difficulties and the 12th house for endings. And the retrograde Saturn activates the Saturn in the birth horoscope of the USA, which is located in the 10th house in Virgo. And the 10th house represents the leader of a country. And so this could mean a leadership change. Check also your Saturn in your horoscope, because the retrograde Saturn will also activate in your birth horoscope your birth Saturn. So check this too, and also the position of the transit Saturn in your horoscope. And in the chart of the USA, it also activates Mandi and Gulika. Saturn activates. Saturn is opposite of Leo, where Mandi and Gulika is placed, and this stands also for more problems. For the Ukraine, the retrograde Saturn activates there also Gulika and Mandi. They also have Gulika and Mandi in the sign of Leo, and this is the 8th house in the birth horoscope of the Ukraine. And this indicates great difficulties. Gulika and Mandi, they are shadow aspects of Saturn. And when they are in the 8th house, this stands for transformation, for death and rebirth. It is not an easy time, a time when it is important to let go of the old. Maybe also old belief systems, old kind of thinking. This period could mean a new difficult time for the Ukraine. And as I also mentioned, possibly a change in leadership. For Iran, for the horoscope of Iran, I see energetically, because what I do with these predictions is an energetic analysis, but how things play out is decided by us humans. The people could rebel more in the country Iran, and with Mars moving into the 10th house in Iran's horoscope, it means it could continue that a new dictator will take the role of the president, that he uses violence to enforce his rules. And also a topic could be the finances of the country, that there could be also an important issue, and it's really not an easy time for the people in this country. For Israel, the sun is in the birth horoscope in the sign of Taurus at 0.31 degrees, and Uranus will be exactly there in transit in June. It could mean an unexpected change of direction or leadership, because we also have there a very important fixed star called Algol. And I spoke more about Algol in my live stream last Sunday. Check this out. Mars moves into the 8th house in the horoscope, which could also mean more terrorist attacks within Israel. And an unexpected leadership change could also happen. This was a short, energetic, astrological analysis for the month of June. And as I said, check your personal horoscope to see which house is the sign of Taurus, to understand more where unexpected and sudden changes are possible, and where a completely new direction can be taken. I hope this energy update has given you valuable insights for the coming month. And if you want to learn more about your personal horoscope, check out my free webinar or subscribe to my newsletter. Stay open to the changes that Uranus brings and use the energy in a good way for your own growth and your awakening. Feel free to share this video, and thank you so much for listening, and I love you.